To take a look at the new 3D text controls in Motion, we're going to create a new Final Cut title and then change things to make sure we're starting from a completely even keel. Now, I'm going to hide the title background, I'm going to edit the text, make that a bit bigger, and then use the inspector under Format to center it vertically and horizontally, and also make the text much bigger. The new thing in Motion 5.2 is that under Appearance, you can activate 3D text, and you can see a small change there, but if I crank up the depth, it should become a bit clearer. Click out of this text, press Shift-Z to fit it to the window, and I'm going to use this tool here, the 3D Transform tool, to then rotate around either the X or the Y or the Z axes, and now you'll be able to see that the text really is 3D. Now, if I leave it at something like that, then you'll be able to see things a little bit more easily. To make it a bit bigger, I'm going to hide the Layers pane with Command 4 and then just zoom in on this text so you can see everything really clearly with the inspector there and with the canvas to the right. Now, the 3D text controls are quite comprehensive, and we'll go through all of these in a great deal of detail. You can, of course, change the depth. You can say in which direction the depth moves. If you wanted to, you could change the weight. This will make the text bolder or thinner, and I'd really recommend not changing this if you can avoid it, because the text, really, if you're going to make it bolder or less bold, you should be using a dedicated font style. For example, ultralight here, it's maybe a little bit thin. I'd go with something a little bit heavier, medium, or something a little bolder, just to make sure that all the surfaces have enough width to still look good in 3D. Now, back in Appearance, under 3D Text, you can see that you've got different kinds of bevels available. You could go for a straight chamfered bevel, or you could maybe go for a concave bevel, or perhaps a ridged bevel. And if you like bevels, then terrific. There's all kinds of different options here, including some which remove the center of the text entirely and leave just the beveled edge. If you want nothing at all, there is the square option, but probably the more subtle option would be to choose round and perhaps reduce the width of the beveled edge. Just dial this slider down to leave just a little hint of a bevel and soften off the edges a bit. Underneath that, you'll want to look at the various lighting setups, and this is lighting that is specific to the text. You can choose from the presets here. We could go for above or drama, top left, or indeed bottom right, and you could go for lighting from below as well. There's lots of options, and we'll look at those in more detail soon. There's also shadows, so you can cause the text to cause shadows on itself, and you can choose a different environment. Now, with the text being fairly white and bright, you can't really see a whole lot of change in the environment unless you choose something like colourful, and then it's a more obvious change. You can see that the environment that I choose from this menu here is what surrounds the text and is reflected. There's also a gradient there as an option. There's also a wide range of materials here, and you can choose from a huge variety of presets, including something as crazy as craft paper, or perhaps a redwood, or perhaps one of the concretes we've got here. You can access these in Final Cut Pro as well, but the extra controls here in Motion are going to let us produce custom textures from our own photos or whatever we want. We'll be looking at that in a great deal more detail